What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Wednesday. We are back. We are live for another edition of the Morning View. Soloing this morning. Soloing. And guess what? Well, I hope so. After saying this, you can hear me. You can hear me. You can hear me. I heard yesterday. I wasn't awake during this, but I heard through the grapevine, Marvin Gaye settings, I heard it through the grapevine that Fleck opened his show yesterday and he was muted for ages. He was muted for a long time and nobody could really hear what he was saying. And, that Flecknology, you know how it goes. If you know, you know. That's basically what it is. Now, I don't know how long it actually went on for yesterday with the Flecknology. But, you can, one of those 1, 2, 1, 2. You can just kind of loosely kind of hear how the show's going to go. Yeah. How it's going to go. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see in the top right-hand corner there, we're nearly 191,500. So if you haven't already, you can subscribe and click the like button. And also you can see all the stuff that's going on in the sidebar. Scan and subscribe to the Football Flex. A new video went up there last night talking about Manchester City and Aston Villa. That game last night. Marcus Rashford scoring a goal. Bring him back. Oh, good. What are we going to do? If someone, maybe we can get a tune out of him, maybe. No, we're not going to be doing that this morning. We are going to be talking about, though, Matheus Cunha, Liam Delap, Victor Osimhen. We're going to be talking about that all because a lot's been going on in my absence over the last couple of days because I tell you what, I mean, you're probably looking at this. You're probably looking at this perfect picture right here and going, Owen, you look a little bit tired. You look a little bit run down. WrestleMania weekend, mate. WrestleMania weekend, it'll get you. 4 nights in a row, staying up late. It'll get you. But I did see a lot of the UV community there. I did see a lot of the UV community over the weekend getting involved. Even people that I don't even like wrestling. I just want to stay up late, because it was bank holiday weekend. We had a great time. But now we're back. Now we're back to reality. Now we're back to normality. And we're back to talking about Manchester United. So as Daniel Luciano says right there, let's get to a quick 100 likes. Galeano says Rashford could have scored 3 if he had composure. Well, he hit the post in the first, what was it, 17 seconds or something? It was insanity, wasn't it? It was madness. It was funny actually. I stopped watching the game last night, and then I got a message from Flex saying, "Oh, last minute goal." I was like, "Don't care, mate. Don't care." Going to sleep. Haven't slept in 4 days, mate. So whatever. Who cares? But yeah, that's all going on there. But we've got our own things to talk about. We're going to be talking about transfers because it's been a busy couple of days, hasn't it? It's been a busy couple of days when it comes to transfers in Manchester United. This Matheus Cunha stuff, it's basically done, mate. Basically done. Feels like we're already celebrating the signing, are we? Also, when it comes to Liam Delap, seemingly Ruben Amorim's top striker target. But then you see other reports and it says, no, Victor Osimhen, he's the top striker target. It just depends what happens with Manchester United qualifying for the Champions League if we win the Europa League. And Rasmus Hojlund could be involved in all of that too. So certainly plans are moving forward when it comes to the season, when it comes to the postseason, when it comes to the transfer window. And it looks like when it comes to the first 2 deals, we didn't have to do any sales either as well, do we? So there's plenty to get into this morning. Be sure to smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Let's begin with this talk. This is kind of a spillover of what Flex and KG spoke about yesterday on the Flex and KG show. Take a look at that. I was in and out of the stream last night with them. When I popped my head in, KG was doing a madness because it's Flex and KG show. When doesn't he do a madness? But he was sort of. I mean, he got angry at me, actually. I mean, I'm already tangenting, and I will get to the news. But he was angry at me for providing context because his point was we can get Victor Osimhen by just basically saying we're Manchester United. And his example as to why that we can get Victor Osimhen because by just by saying we're Manchester United was we got Radamel Falcao and Angel Di Maria by saying were Manchester United. Now, I was watching that and I went in the chat and I said, well, KG, Cage, Mr. Gary, Kev the Comic, that's not really necessarily true. We signed Angel Di Maria and Radamel Falcao, etc., by saying we're Manchester United because 2 seasons prior to that, we were league champions. It wasn't, how many years is it at this point? 12, 13 going on, 12. Yeah, 12 years. It was 2. That was a decade ago. We signed those players by going, we're Manchester United. Things have changed. Things have evolved. And you have to, be in the current times, not in the old times. So I stepped in there and then he had a go at me because he said, oh, in context, how dare you? How dare you provide context? But hey, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So when it comes to these early deals, the ones that we don't seemingly have to even do any sales for, it's quite interesting indeed. Let's have a look. David Ornstein. Now, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if this is specifically an article. I think this is a thing he did on Sky, that sort of late night paper talk thing. And basically he's sort of saying that Manchester United's striker target is Liam Delap. United also want to complete early deals for Delap and Matheus Cunha early, which suggests that the sales are not needed first, because this was also what was put out there yesterday with some of the reporting regarding Liam Delap and Cunha, that effectively, because these are both release clauses, Manchester United are now doing the due diligence. They're doing the legwork to get these deals done. And by getting these deals done and doing all the stuff to get them done, they want to have them basically wrapped up by the moment the transfer window opens. They want to be done by like June 1st. So then they can focus on everything else. They can focus on everything else that would require sales, moving people along, etc. Continues by saying the stuff that Chris Wheeler and Nathan Salt from the Mail had been saying as well, saying the Cunha to Manchester United deal is very close. This was kind of echoed by Carve Solikol. I'm hearing Ineos. I could do the whole, shall I try the whole thing? 4 Premier League clubs, as well as Manchester United, want to sign Matheus Cunha this summer. Arsenal and Aston Villa are among the clubs who have held exploratory talks about signing him this year. Saudi Pro League clubs are now willing to trigger his 64 million release clause. Cunha sees United as one of the biggest clubs in the world, and their current league position would not put him off a potential move to Old Trafford. One source says the player loves United. Hey, you don't just get impressions with Fleck, yeah? You don't just get impressions with Fleck. Get him with old Owen as well. Oh, yes. It's the Carve. Yeah, Carve. Forget installments. He talks in installments. That's how he talks. Man United pay in installments. Carve talks in installments. Yeah, that's how Carve talks. We're never going to get him on the channel with those kind of with that kind of stuff, are we? No, never a chance. You never know. One day. But when it comes to be fair, I've just said that. I haven't even actually probably read what that said because I was just doing the impression. He loves United. That was it. He loves United. And the point being is that because these deals are being worked on so quickly now, because they're being worked on so fast, Man United won't need any sales to bring them in. And to be fair, when I saw this, this reporting last night and into this morning, I was going to shoot James from the Muppeteers a message, because if you remember, if you watched the red carpet on Monday, that's exactly what James said, wasn't it? It's exactly what James said on Monday. He said that the reason the two signings of Cunha and Delap, they're already factored in with what our net budget is probably going to be in the summer. They're very confident that they can do those deals with the money that we're guaranteed to have. So the existing budget and players that are already on the way out. And effectively, that's why they're moving forward with those ones. And because then you get into the territory of, okay, maybe like a Garnacho might go, or other players might be going, or, like pick a name, Harry Maguire, well, he possibly could go in the summer. He got like a year left or so. And other names that maybe Rasmus Hojlund, we'll get to that in a bit. And Hojlund, if he goes, and maybe Victor Osimhen, those kind of ones that are a bit more of a question mark as opposed to a guaranteed. We say Jadon Sancho, but he's going to go in the summer, even if he comes back from Chelsea. Marcus Rashford, he's going to go in the summer, even if, depending on what happens there. That's already all factored in. And these two deals are the ones that they want to do quickly, and then everything else can sort of come after that. So that's encouraging. That's exciting. I mean, as far as if out of the Cunha and Delap one, which one it feels the most likely at this point, you would go with the Cunha stuff, because over the last couple of days, it really does feel like, I know Carve's saying there that, well, lots of Premier League clubs are interested, Arsenal and Saudi Pro League clubs and Newcastle and what have you. But all of the noises from Carve et al. Are suggesting that he only wants Man United. I mean, the guy's been, twerking on Instagram for the best part of like a couple of years, saying, Man United, or Man United fan, loves Man United. And in a time which we are 14th in the Premier League, at a time which we're not good, at a time which, we're talking a lot with not certainty, but with a lot of, well, next season, Champions League, win Europa League, which, I still say that I don't think we've allowed ourselves fully to sort of go down that road of, like, if we don't win the Europa League and we just sort of finish 14th or 15th or this season, like, what does that even look like going into next season? It's going to be quite bad, isn't it? That's going to be pretty rough. And there's going to be some quite big calls for Amorim out and stuff like that from sections of the fan base. I don't think we've really even looked that much in that direction yet. Despite all that, Cunha wants to come to United. Now, obviously, then you can go into the discussion that I've seen the last few days, which is there's this thing about discipline. He's got really bad discipline, which is somewhat overblown, isn't it? It's somewhat overblown. There's the stat about the walk-in, and which is, I think, is true with the sense that sometimes I think we as fans, we just like to sort of see stuff. We just like to see stuff as opposed to actual sort of tangible quality. If someone's running around, that can kind of make up for a lack of quality. We're like, yeah, but at least they work hard. At least they work hard. You go, yeah, but what are they really offering? What are they really offering when it comes to that? And there's this, you can just see that if Cunha came to United and went on let's say he went on a bit of a dry spell, or he went a little bit out of form, and then this thing about, Andy walks, like, it already feels to me, and call me crazy here, guys, call me crazy, but it already feels like to me, with that discussion about the walking thing, like a narrative's already being made. Like, well, am I crazy there? Or is it like the foundation's already been put down for, if he has a bad performance, it's going to be, well, he's a bad egg because he gets sent off, and 2, he walks. Look at him, he's walking around all the time. It's like, this feels like, I don't know, I'm watching some kind of TV series. I'm watching some kind of TV series, and they're planting seeds for a storyline that's going to pay off at the end of the season. And we've only just started. We're in the first episode. It's just a fleeting line. He walks, and then leave that for a few episodes. And then several episodes down the line, it'll be, and then he's walking, and it's a bit of a bad egg. You can already feel it. You can already start. Jay Blackman says, absolutely right, Owen. This fan base. Kristen says, nah, Owen, you're not crazy. You're fucking reckless. Hey, I don't think I don't think it's literally, what is it? One red card and then the walking stuff. It's already starts, doesn't it? Already starts for when he signs. You see this a lot with Man United. You see it a lot with, early planting of seeds, narratives. For example, with this all Europa League stuff. Have you seen that? Have you seen that one recently? Suddenly, I mean, even though this rule's been around for a decade, that you can win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League, suddenly it's out of order. It's out of order. You can't have that. Out of order. You can't. What do you mean you can be in the bottom half of the table? And what do you mean you can have a rubbish season and you can qualify for the Champions League by winning the Europa League? They need to change that rule, even though that rule's been going on for a decade. Even though just a couple of seasons ago, Sevilla, when they beat us on the way to winning the Europa League, finished, what was it, 12th or 13th in La Liga? European heritage. European heritage with that one. Sevilla, they just always find a way when it comes to winning the Europa League. They've just got that heritage of winning the Europa League. Isn't it great? Isn't it great now? Hey, that's wrong. It's just wrong. It's just completely wrong. Oh, shocking. Oh, terrible, isn't it? Yeah, very interesting, that one. So I think when it comes to the Cunha stuff, I think that's positive. I think we do want to have players that actually want to play for Manchester United, and get deals done early. Because this is when I go to my favorite phrase, talking out both sides of our mouths, because we're all talking about how big a summer that we've got, how much we need signings, we need players, we need this, we need that, we need 5 players, 6 players, 7 players, and we need to move players on. Then wouldn't it behoove Ineos, wouldn't it behoove all of us to get these deals done as early as possible? Bring at least 2 players in if you could. Imagine that. Imagine the window opened. We had like a double signing like that. Boom, straight away. We've got 2 players through the door. And then you move on to the more complicated part of it of, okay, right, this player, we're going to try and move him on, but if he doesn't want to leave, there's nothing we can do there. And okay, what budget have we got left? And get the deals done quickly. We're always asking, do early business. Remember a couple of years ago, we're not doing anything. Remember Eric's first season? I remember that one so well because it was chaos. But I remember that Eric's first season, that first summer. We're not doing deals. We're just chasing Frankie de Jong. We're just doing this. We're not doing it. Get signings. Where did get signings get us? We signed Antony and we signed Casemiro in the last 7 days. Oh my God. Oh my God. Let's get deals done early. Let's find the right targets now. Do the legwork. Get it done. Have a preseason that isn't just chaos with people not being on tour or anything like that. No. Because we've got something, we're fortunate in the sense that obviously loads of those clubs are doing the Club World Cup this summer. And of course, you'd like to be in it because you can make more money being in it. But there's no international tournaments. There's nothing we're meant to be doing in the summer. So for all of the talk about, Ruben, I just needs time with the players and needs a preseason. Well, this is it. There's no distractions. No distractions this summer. You can have a full preseason. You can have a tour filled with all of the first teamers. That's it. So get the deals done early. None of this joining up through the middle of the tour or wait until the season's already started, this, that, and the other. Get the deals done now. And when it comes to Delap, clearly, I know there's been the talk about Osimhen, or I'd rather get Osimhen than Delap. There is still discussion, I suppose, about both. But clearly, I think they're looking at the Delap one because they're going, we can get it done quicker. We can get it done cheaper. And I know when we say the cheaper stuff, people roll their eyes because they go, oh, yeah, but there we go. This is the Ineos stuff. Ineos stuff is we're just going for the cheap option. But I think it's also the part of it will go, not high wages, not a super high transfer fee. So if it doesn't work out, we're not stuck. You know, being that feeling of being ruthless. You know, Man United got to be ruthless. We've got to be more ruthless. And if a player comes and they don't work out, move them on. Well, if you spend 60, 70 million on a player and put them on a contract 150k higher, then suddenly when it doesn't work out in 18 months, 2 years time, you can't move them on because you have the problem like we have with Hojlund now, where we go, yeah, but it might actually be a loan because the book value is too high. And where would he, well, how would we move him on? If you bought him for like 30 million and his contract's not high, you can be ruthless in a couple of years if it doesn't work out. Or they do work out and you give them a new deal because they've earned it. That's how these efficient clubs actually work. Instead of just throwing money and going, I hope this one works. And then they go, oh shit, it hasn't. Now, then 2 years down the line, you go, yeah, that 72 million. Or the Mason Mount, yeah, you know, you know. So, it's about that's when all the talk I think about the finances come to it, which is I suppose why the Osimhen is a bit more complicated. We're closing in. We've already got close to our 900 people watching. Where are we at in terms of likes? We are at 237 likes. Let's see if we can get to like a 400, and then I don't know what Flex got to yesterday, but we'll see if we can get to 400, and then we'll say Flex. We'll go Flex, you know. We'll do the. Now I don't know if the soundboard's even working at this point because the soundboard at the moment we sort of made up and now it hates me again. But we'll be like,
no, wait a minute.
The likes were liking this morning. The likes were liking. So if you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe to a couple of super chats. A couple of super chats this morning. William says, I heard Ruben wants Osimhen. The club want Delap. I saw the similar stuff, but not from necessarily any journalists. I saw it from people on social media. And I think with that sentiment, I think we have to be very, very careful because in the same way that I spoke about narratives building, that I feel like this is also a narrative that's being put out there that maybe isn't necessarily rooted in the truth. I think that in any recruitment strategy, there is always different opinions. It's like anything. It's like in the chat at the moment, right? It's like in the chat. There'll be different opinions. People will like going for Delap. People will like going for Osimhen. People will like to go for both. That specific of Ruben wants Osimhen, club wants Delap. Peek through it a little bit. What is it really suggesting? It's once again, I go back to laying foundations. It's laying a foundation of, so once again, the club's letting down the manager. Once again, the club, it's a bit like Eric. Eric wanted Harry Kane. They didn't get him Harry Kane. If he'd have got him Harry Kane, if he'd have got him Frankie de Jong, if he'd have got him this, if he'd have got him that, then we would have succeeded. It's this narrative of club versus coach and club letting down this coach. The reality is, like, there are many examples. Well-run clubs of clubs wanting certain signings, managers wanting certain signings, and then the club gets the signing over the manager, and it worked out for the best. At Liverpool, one of the best examples is Salah, isn't it? The club wanted Salah. What did they want? What did the club want? Brandt, I think it was. And they got Salah. And look at the success. Now, it's not to say that getting Liam Delap and he's going to be doing Mo Salah numbers, but I think with that kind of narrative, if you just buy into that straight away, if you just buy into that strategy, then you have to be really buy into that narrative rather. You have to be really careful and you have to see through what it is. It's putting stuff out there because people realize that the Osimhen one is less likely than the Delap one. So when the time comes that we get Delap and maybe we don't get Osimhen, then it's already been framed in a way that it's letting down the manager. You've let down the manager. You've let him down. And Ruben absolutely wanted him. Do you have any evidence of that? Is there any report? credible journalist? Is David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano? Have they come out and said, oh, Ruben really, really wanted Osimhen, but the club said, oh, they wanted Liam Delap instead. So that's what happened. No. It's just, it's an educated leap, isn't it? It's an educated leap of, well, Victor Osimhen's a bigger name than Delap. At the moment, he's a better striker than Delap. So if you didn't get him over him, even though there could be many a reason as to why that is the case, then you've let him down. And once again, we've got a coach that's being held prisoner effectively by the big, evil monster that is Manchester United. And they wanted Osimhen, and it's just, again, it's I think a weird narrative that's already being put out there for us for the summer. I think, and I think the closest version, and it's only my opinion, but I think the closest version to reality is, in an ideal world, they would get both. In an ideal world, yes, they would get Victor Osimhen, but it's more complicated than the Liam Delap one. The Delap one, they can do that quickly and cheaper and more effectively. So that's what they're going to do. The Osimhen one isn't off the table, but it depends on a lot of factors: money, moving people on, etc., etc., etc. And, and that one could take a while. And what they don't want to do is what they've done in the past is get to close to the end of the window and haven't brought in a striker at all, because they've been spending so long messing around with this Osimhen deal, only for him to go to Saudi or go somewhere else and go, shit, we don't have a striker once again for, I don't know, for the fourth season in a row. We've only got what we've only brought in one striker. What are we going to do? So I think then with the Osimhen stuff, it could happen, but it's just more complicated, and they want to do stuff that they can manage quickly now, I think. But I wouldn't rule out both. Ivor Clip says, I wonder what Rasmus was promised when he first joined, and what is his thinking around our striker search. Well, it's kind of, this was also what James was saying on Monday on the red carpet, that because again we spent so much money bringing him in, that it might be a one where it's a loan with like an obligation to buy or something like that, just because he has struggled so much at United, and because we're looking for a specific amount to cover the book cost, that will put people off. And there's parts of it where I do sympathise for Hojlund to an extent, because the transfer fee was not his fault. Clearly, he wasn't ready. And even when he was first earmarked to be coming in, he was earmarked as, he was meant to be like a backup striker to a more experienced striker. But then initially, the rumours were that we wanted to pay, 40 million euros for him. We spent considerably more than that. But he's not. He's not the guy to lead the line at United. He's just not. The best thing for him would be a move elsewhere, but again, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be difficult for him. Super Arch says, Delap things feels like a scam. They say it's 30, but what about add-ons, agent fees, extra crap? It's going to be more than that. Well, I think the other parts you're talking about, agent fees and added stuff, I mean, that's the same for every transfer, isn't it? The release clause, that's the number you get to where effectively the club can't turn it down, because it's already written into his contract or whatever. There's always added stuff. I mean, that's the same for everyone. So I wouldn't say that's a scam. If because of those agent fees and added bonuses that makes it a scam, then every transfer is a scam then, because every transfer has got stuff baked into it. I mean, that's just the way they work. With the Delap one, like people are saying about, for instance, a great example, the Turkey stuff, right? We were talking about that on Monday, weren't we? Going, the £25 million, that's a market opportunity. It's a market opportunity, Turkey, because £25 million, it's good value for money. The people, that's why all of these Premier League clubs are looking at looking at Delap for the same reason, because they're going, 30 million in today's market for a striker, 30 million, who's had a season in the Prem, scored some goals, definitely going to be leaving. Yeah, we'll do that, because 30 million is not that much in today's day and age in the transfer market for a striker, and it represents very little risk, because strikers, what are they judged on? Scoring goals. And if you sign a striker for £30 million and he doesn't score that many goals, you can sell him pretty easily, and it's not too much of an issue. Whereas a lot of the time with strikers, because it's always a gamble, if you spend 40 or 50 million, difficult to move on. So, I think that's what they're looking at. It's the same way people are looking at even Cunha as a market opportunity, because they don't have to do the negotiating back and forth with the club, because they know the value. They go, right, 62 million. We know exactly where we can go to. So I wouldn't say that the Delap one's a scam. Far from it. Red Baron says, only my opinion is correct thought. And there you go. Ken Audi says, somebody thinks that they're playing FIFA, Owen. Well, it's all right. We are already at that time of the year, aren't we, when the lists start coming out. I don't know if you've seen this. The lists start coming out on socials. What I would do is they always start with this. What I would do is, and then it says like Sal Rashford 40, Sal Sancho 25, and then you start getting into the Sal Rasmus 40, Sal do this, boom, do this, boom, do this, boom, and then they go, and then I would do Osimhen 40. They'll start picking ones out. Branthwaite 50, this one, and you go, where have you got numbers from? where have you got these numbers from? And they don't often take into account other things too, which is like, we still owe lots of transfers. We still owe money on transfers, and if we don't qualify for the Champions League, if we do this and that. And you're right, Ken, when we are not playing FIFA or Football Manager, things sometimes are a little bit more complex than that. And Rad Baron says, I think we need to be good and not bad. I think that's a good one. I think that's bang on. Red Super Chat of the day, Red Baron. What we need to be is good and not bad. I think that's what we need. I think you bang on the money, Red Baron. Avil says, we helped a former employee get a new decent job at Atalanta in exchange for Rasmus. Seems fair. Yeah, I mean, Murto. What's his title? What's John Murto's? It's one of those sort of long. The word global is in it, isn't it? I think Murto, Atalanta. Director of Global Development. There you go. I'm the Director of Global Development. And what is that? What does that consist of? Well, maybe. Well, it's just more of an excuse for John Murto to get on the plane more often, isn't it? I mean, how many times? Remember, this is how mad our transfer windows used to be, folks. We used to get videos and images of John Murto arriving in countries for negotiations, and then we would never sign the person. It happened twice in one summer. Yep, John Murto in Barcelona for negotiations for Frankie de Jong. Hey, it's happening. Didn't buy him. Oh, John Murto, he's just landed in Turin. Right, Rabiot, he's on his way. He's for negotiations with Rabiot's agent, his mother. We're gonna, he's gonna be on his way. Didn't happen. So brace yourselves, Atalanta. I don't know if he's going to be involved in transfers, but he just heard the word global and he thought, okay, I'll get back on a plane again. I'll have some tapas. I missed it. I'll go back and have some more. Yeah, or go get some great Italian food. I loved it when I was in Turin, because even the Turin one, didn't he was in and out of the airport in like an hour. So I don't know what happened with those negotiations. It just lasagna. Right, lovely. I'll fly him back. You got to get authentic. So that's all I'm having. No negotiations. No negotiations or anything like that. I mean, good grief. Murto madness. So brace yourselves, Atalanta. Red Baron says, helicopters or planes? Planes any day of the week. Any day of the week. There was this thing over WrestleMania weekend where some of the wrestlers were flying in blimps above Vegas, and whilst they were in there, the blimps, they were like going like that. I was thinking, not a chance. You would not get me in a blimp or a helicopter or anything like that. Not a chance. No way. Plane any day, just no, I couldn't be doing that. Oof. I mean, and and I've not even got I don't have a fear of heights or anything, but just no, I couldn't. I couldn't do that. No, thank you. So yes, that's the latest when it comes to Cunha and Delap. Looks like these ones are going to happen and happen early. So I guess that's exciting. Max says you wouldn't get on a plane. I'd get on a plane. I've flown before. I don't have a problem with planes. But if it was a choice, you know what I mean? If someone said, right, the only way to get to this place is by helicopter, I'm not going to be one of those ones where I'm not going. I'll be like, right, okay, I guess I'm getting on a helicopter. That kind of stuff. But if I had the option to fly on a plane or go on a helicopter, I'd be like, I'm going on a plane. I'm not doing helicopters. But then I suppose it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. When it's like those people go, yeah, but you only hear, you hear the stuff in the news about, plane crashes and that. There are thousands of flights every single day. It's the only ones in the news that, it's one in a blue moon in the news that makes the headlines. I'm sure it's the same with helicopters, isn't it? It's the same with helicopters, that there are thousands of flights a day, but it's one in the news. But it's still just like, I don't know, this small aircrafts. I just don't feel very protected, by the. But I prefer it to just them to be big than the small. I just no, not for me. Not for me. Just Show says just parachute out. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Show, also known as DB Cooper, that mysterious person. That's Show. They've never found him. Never found him. It was Show. It was Show the whole time. So a bit more on this Victor Osimhen stuff as well. Since we spoke about the stuff that's imminent, now we go on to the stuff that is, I guess, still up in the air, like a plane. Good segue. Victor Osimhen. Now, could Victor Osimhen be on his way to Manchester United this summer? Well, according to Chris Wheeler and Nathan Salt, Victor Osimhen is an option for Manchester United, and the club could be persuaded to let Rasmus Hojlund return to Italy as part of the deal. Now, this, I think, again, kind of just sums up the difference between the Cunha Delap stuff and the Osimhen stuff right now, isn't it? Which is that when they're talking about the Delap and Cunha stuff, they're talking almost in more absolutes, aren't they? They're talking more in absolutes. They're talking about, the release clause, they're hoping to get it done by June 1st. Legwork's being done. In the case of Cunha, personal terms, on Delap, they're leading the race, or they're in pole position, and it's between them and Chelsea. Whereas when it comes to the Osimhen stuff, it's a lot more, he could be an option. He could be an option for Manchester United in the Premiership. It could be an option, and maybe Rasmus Hojlund could be involved in that deal, and maybe that's what it is. I mean, yesterday there was, I think it was Dave McDonald, Disco Dave, was saying that Ruben wanted him, and it was 40 million. I think that when it comes to Osimhen, he is going to move this summer, and I think they're very, 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 very keen that what happens with him isn't what happened last summer. Last summer, the expectation was he leaves Napoli. He's going to go, right? And whether that was to Saudi or whether that was to the Premier League, it looked like it was going to be between Saudi and Chelsea, wasn't it? Chelsea were also interested in him last summer. And we got to the final day of the window and nothing happened. Saudi move didn't happen. Chelsea move didn't happen. And the window shut. Because the Turkish window shuts was it a week or so later? Because of that, that was like, Galatasaray take him on loan because he had to go. He's got to go, blood. He's got to go. He had to leave Napoli. They'd already got Lukaku. They'd fallen out with the people at Napoli, and he had to find a move. So he went to Galatasaray on loan for a season. But that was all such a massive screw up that they got rid of his representatives, got new agents when this is a shambles. And clearly, these new representatives, these new agents that he's got over the course of the last year have been like, right, when it comes to next summer, we're getting you that move. We will do everything to get you that move. Whether it's to go to the Premier League, to Manchester United, whether it's to go and complete that move to the Saudi Pro League, which I still think is massively on for him because he still does fit with what they're looking for. The Saudi Pro League now don't like to sign the sort of older player. They want to be signing players that are more in their prime because they want to avoid the stigma of the Saudi Pro League, just an old farts league where they're going to go for a lot of money. No, they want to get people in their prime. So I still wouldn't be shocked if Osimhen ended up there. So I do think a lot of the Osimhen stuff we hear just in general is a lot of it, I think, is agent talk, making sure that he can secure a move. But of course, if the right opportunity came up, then I think United would look at it. But the way that it's being reported versus the Delap and Cunha stuff just shows how different those situations are. The stuff with the Cunha and Delap stuff are being spoken about as if they're actively happening. Personal terms are being discussed, and this looks likely, or they're leading the race. Whereas with the Osimhen stuff, it feels a lot more hypothetical at the moment, doesn't it? It's a lot more, well, this could happen, and Hojlund could be involved in that, and it depends on moving some players on. So this way, it feels a lot more like that. And to be fair, Show says it there. Cunha fits Saudi as well. And I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked because, again, when it comes to release clauses, that's the beauty, isn't it? Is that all you have to do is just trigger it. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Saudi Pro League clubs or the Saudi PIF activate the release clause and then say to Cunha, this is what we can offer you, and try to sort of just completely sway his head with a massive contract. And it might be one of those ones again where it's like, how badly do you want to come to United, or how badly do you want to stay in the Premier League or be at a top club in Europe? Because the Saudi option will be the more lucrative option. And then it will become a case of, do you want to follow the money, or do you want to stay in Europe and stay in the Premier League? And we just have to hope in that case that he was it Carve said he loves Manchester United. He loves Man United. How much do you love Manchester United? How much do you love Manchester United? So that'll be something to look at. It'll just be a case of what his ambitions are, I think, isn't it? Does he have a situation where, and to be fair, some of the players, was it Neves? Was it Ruben Neves? He's played for Wolves, when he just openly admitted, yeah, I went for the money. I couldn't turn that down. I mean, this is wealth, not just for me, but for my children, for my grandchildren. This is generational wealth. I can't turn that down. Why would I? It's a bit like Oscar. You remember Oscar that was at Chelsea? And he was like 22, I think it was about 22. And he moved to the Chinese Super League, didn't he? And he ended up being there for, how many years was he there for? He's only recently left. Oscar Chelsea. He's only recently left, but he was like one of, if not the highest paid footballer in the world. He was there for 7 years. 2017. He was there for 7 years, from 2017 to 2024. And they signed him for £60 million. He signed a 4-year contract worth a weekly salary of £400,000, equivalent to an annual salary of 20 million quid. He was one of the highest paid footballers in the world. And then this was the crazy thing too, is they changed the league. They changed the rules rather. So suddenly a lot of the players that went over there for money started to come back because they had the rules about how many foreign players. And I think there was a salary cap. I think like a salary cap was put in, but because he signed his contract after the fact, before the fact rather, he still kept it. And then he extended it for another 5 years, an annual salary of 24 million euros. That was it. And the contract was signed a month before the Chinese government imposed an individual salary cap of 3 million euros a year for foreign players in the Chinese Super League, which led to an exodus of the league star players. But he had signed it before. So he's like, I'm keeping that. So, yeah, with some of these players, and Oscar at the time, again, was early 20s. And he was like, well, This is generational. Well, I can't turn that down. How can I turn that down? So, yeah, I think that is something to consider if they do get those offers. We've still got 1,000 people watching. Where are we at in terms of likes? Ooh, I tell you what, we're at 367 likes. We're, what's that, 33 away from 400. I tell you what, 500 might be on here, guys. 500 might be on. So if you haven't already, click the like button. See if we can get to 500 likes. Strong morning show, midweek settings, hump day, and all that. See if we can get to 500, and then I can say to Flex, see, Flex, see. This is what this is what happens if you don't talk on mute for the first 5 minutes. See, yeah. Show says that £1 £1 for the transfer war chest, or as KG would call it, the war kitty. The war kitty. £1 equals £1. So, and maybe if we get to 500, maybe we do sign both Osimhen and Delap. Yeah, because apparently that's what Man United are looking at come the summer. Omar Barada, Vavels, they're looking at it going, well, we were a bit on the fence, but then we saw 500 likes on the morning view on UV, and we thought the fan base really wants it actually. So yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So yes, click the like button. Aminor, channel 906, not this early, Aminor. You just woken up. Says, Onana, where is the talk about a new goalkeeper for Onana? Are you calling me Onana? I'm Owen. I'm not Andre. I'm not Andre Onana. I'm Owen. Owen, where is the talk about a new goalkeeper for Onana? I agree. Absolutely, I agree. I think we need to be looking for a new keeper. That has gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? It was quite interesting because we were linked to the Frankfurt keeper? Was he the Brazilian keeper? Frankfurt goalkeeper. Was it him? I forget. It was this was it, yeah. Santos plays for Frankfurt. And then I think he played in was it in the game against Spurs? And then because Spurs won, we were like, rubbish. So we might still go for those kind of ones. I think when it comes to the goalkeeper situation, come the summer, I still say just get a goalkeeper. That's it. Just get a goalkeeper. When it comes to obviously the price, and we're going to probably be allocating money to different deals. Obviously the Cunha and the Delap ones, and we'll be looking at a right wing back and what have you. Just bring one in. Because no disrespect, well, this probably is quite disrespectful, but no disrespect to Andre Onana. Anyone will be better. I just get a goalkeeper. I mean, there are free agents. There are free agent keepers that are options. Free agent goalkeepers, or just look at free agents in the summer. There's the keeper from is it from Napoli? I think it is. You know, they're just bring someone in. Bring in a keeper, even if it's for a couple of million, free transfer, whatever, just for extra competition. Because also, even if they were, even if is it Meret or Meret, either or, you know, bring anyone. Because even if it's still, oh well, Onana's going to be the number one, inevitably he will make a mistake. Next season, and what we do need is just a number two minimum that can push him a bit more than Bayindir is. Because we're even talking about Bayindir going like play Bayindir. We all know Bayindir shit. This is the other part of it. When he got picked to play against Newcastle, going back to narratives, this weird narrative started doing the round of suddenly United fans think Bayindir's the next coming of Schmeichel. Nobody thought that. Everyone knows Bayindir's rubbish. But it was just a case of, can he catch the ball? Yeah, we'll put him in between the sticks, see what happens. So with the summer, just get a goalkeeper. minimum to push Onana for when he makes a mistake, or get a goalkeeper that can just play. They might not be the best, and we can do it next summer, or the summer after. We can go get a goalkeeper. Just get that is a position where I'm more than happy for a placeholder. More than happy for a placeholder. More than happy for just someone to be there for like a season or two. They're not amazing, but they're not rubbish either. They're just okay, and they can catch a ball and they can make saves. Who cares about their feet? Just do that. Just bring them in, and then we can sort of reevaluate that next summer or the summer after or something. That's what we need. Whether or not United do that, it's like you said, Amanor, it has gone a bit quiet, hasn't it, over the last week or so? But I would hope that they haven't forgotten. That would be quite disappointing, wouldn't it, if they just suddenly oh no, we don't need a goalkeeper now. I'm not sure. Red Baron says Amanor needs his pillow talk with Owen. That sounds very sus, Red Baron. It's not like that. It's not like that for anyone that's watching. He's just a caller into the full-time view. It's just, he pays for that privilege. That sounds worse. That sounds even worse. He pays for pillow talk with me. Ugh, that does sound a bit. That sounds even more sus, doesn't it? I meant membership. Well, it's not like it's no. It's not. I'll move on. Star-Lord's been a member for 34 months. OG member says, big up absolutely everyone. We need to back Amorim till the wheels fall off. In my opinion, we need a goalkeeper, centre midfielder, centre forward, at a minimum. Smash the like button. Well, you heard what Star-Lord says there. Smash the like button. We're less than 100 away from 500 likes. Hey, for a solo-in show, not bad. Hey, not bad. We're doing okay on the like buttons this morning, aren't we? Look at that. Not bad. And M. Sati says, what about that Japanese goalkeeper? Suzuki, I don't know how real, big up M. Sati for the super chat. I don't know how real all of those links are. That just feels like one that's just been there for ages. Because whereas when he was playing in Japan, we were linked to him as a backup. And wasn't the story that he turned us down and went to Parma? And now it's like, oh, but we're still interested in him whilst he's at Parma. We're like, well, we don't actually know if he's any good. We've just been linked to him for ages, for absolutely ages. It's one of those names that we've been linked to forever. So I don't know. I was thinking this the other day, actually. And I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Put some names in the chat for this. Obviously, that for years we had these names that we were always linked to every single transfer window of the Gaetan, Wesley Sneijder, Frankie de Jong was the sort of one over the last few years. Who's the recent one? Who's the recent one that we're always linked to, but we're not going to buy? But whenever you see the name, you go, right, this is just, you have to write an article. So you've just picked this name. What are the names now that when you hear them, you go, we're perpetually linked? Like, so again, in the past, Gaetan, Sneijder, Milinkovic, Savic. I think the modern one, the modern one is Frankie de Jong, isn't it? I guarantee this window, even given the fact that Ten Hag is not even at the club anymore, we will get linked to Frankie de Jong again. We will. Lots of people saying de Jong. The de Jong one, Dybala, that's one. There's always a Dybala story, isn't there? Always. Kristen says Edison. You know what? That's true, Kristen. I think you're spot on with that one, because every window, every transfer window, you get talks are beginning between Manchester United and Atalanta for Edison, and I'm like, I don't think that's happening. But every window that comes up now, you go, well, Edison. I'm like, is it really though? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Whichever ones do we always get linked to at the moment? There'll be a Branthwaite one. Frimpong. Yep. Frimpong. We always get linked to Frimpong. I think there might be a Branthwaite story, but to be fair, those Branthwaite ones were legitimate, weren't they? They were legit. I'm talking about ones where, like Ornstein, Romano, like the big transfer gurus, never actually sort of said Man United are in for him or anything like that. They just every window it just happens. Like I think Edison's a good one. Edison's a good one. Courtside Dumfries, that was there for a while, wasn't it? That was Berserker. You're right. Pogba. There will be at least one or two articles in the summer about there'll be a Pogba link. I guarantee you there will be a Pogba link. It won't be true. It will be bullshit. There will be a Pogba link. And this is where we're entering, folks, into that time of the year, aren't we? Where if everyone's really quiet right now, if everyone's really, really quiet, because you have to be really quiet to hear them. But if you're really quiet, can you hear that? Can you hear that? You can just start to hear the transfer ITK accounts just start to come out of hibernation. They're not ready just yet. They're just starting to stir. But if you got to be really quiet. Got to be really quiet. If you just listen really, really closely, you can just hear the transfer ITK accounts. No sources. No source. It's like completely dry chicken. No source. No source. You could just hear them start to sort of come out. Yeah, they're just waking up. They're just waking up. The accounts that, for instance, we're linked with Cunha and Delap. So today we'll tweet out, Cunha Delap to Manchester United, done deal. So that in 6 weeks' time, when the deal is done, they go, told you 6 weeks ago. And you go, you didn't. It was an educated leap, that's what it is. That's as Cuban says, they're getting the eye emojis ready, right? They're getting the timers ready. The ticks are ready. Yep. And then the best thing is with those accounts, when they say that, I always go to look at the comments, because the comments are hilarious, because they will all bring up the multitude of times which they were just talking bullshit. Like, so they'll go like, so how is that? I don't know, the Dubai takeover of Manchester United going. When's that happening? No, I don't want to talk about it. don't want to talk about that one. Don't want to talk about that. I'd rather not. So there you go, guys. That's some transfer news for you this morning on the Morning View. Where do we end up in terms of the likes? Nearly at 450 in terms of the likes. Not bad. Not bad. If you haven't already clicked the like button on the way out, be sure to subscribe. What's on tap for today? Full View. Yes, Full View coming up, 7 p.m. Hopefully we'll have a full panel for that. Plenty to discuss. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning. Flex and myself reunited tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the Morning View. Then into Friday, we've got Trinity. And we've got Bournemouth at the weekend. Sunday, it's a 2 p.m. kickoff. It's actually on TV. So we'll be live for the match view for that. I'll be live at kickoffs 2, so I'll be live at 12. And then next week, next week, that's the big one, isn't it? Europa League settings. But that's next week. I'm looking too far ahead into the future, aren't I? Have a good morning, guys, and I'll see you again later on for the Full View. I'm out of here. Peace.